Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. I am Chris, joined by my younger sibling, James. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing good.
This
Much better now that the Stars won.
right, that was a great game. This is the AGR for we think game 31. We're not sure because so many games got postponed. We're gonna call it 31 though. Um, what an amazing, exciting game for a matinee game. I was so not looking forward to this game at all because it was that afternoon 1 p.m. start. And man, it was one of the most exciting Stars games of the year, I think, so far.
Definitely. It was definitely one of the most physical in the sense. It definitely had the physicality of a playoff game.
Yeah, the Stars haven't showed a lot of scrap, I think, this year. A lot of the after whistle scrums and stuff. And I think Razor was talking about that a little bit during the game too, how we need more physicality, especially in front of the net, is what he was talking about. But yeah, this game brought it all over the place. And we'll get into the moment that started for the Stars because it did not happen in the first period. So to start this game off, it was all Penguins from the get-go. Takes them about 6 minutes to finally put one in. But once they do, they get two within 30 seconds, looks like. First one's from Brian Dumoulin, barely know that guy. The next one is from Kasperi Kapanen. We know that guy well. But yeah, quick start from the Penguins. They really punched the Stars in the face. The Stars had no legs at all. The Penguins looked like they were trying to get going, and overall, the first period was not good. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it was really frustrating that first period to watch. We had the same problem that we did last night or the other night with the Panthers not being able to get out of our own zone and just not the Penguins would just put two people in front of the net, and that's how they ended up scoring both their goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both kind of scrappy in front. And the Penguins, they kept the same game plan all game long. They had those two guys in front of the net, like you were saying. They had pretty much full on press on the Stars pretty much all game long, even whenever they were starting to go down. And man, it was tough to get out of our zone, but once we figured it out, we finally got going. But yeah, it really looked like the Stars had no legs to start this game, not skating at all. Like you said, turnovers galore in the defensive zone, lots of pressure from the Penguins, and that was pretty much the story of the first period. It sucked for the Stars, got outplayed massively. Uh, we should talk about how it was really Otter didn't play great either, especially on those first two goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think this it was the second one was the wrist shot by Kapanen that kind of just eluded him. It wasn't even really it wasn't much traffic. It wasn't
Well,
it
I
just kind of found its way in.
what kind of happened there from what I saw? I don't remember if that was the first or second goal either,
Yeah.
but it was Heiskanen and one other Penguin fighting in front of the net, and he kind of like moved away from it, but he put himself out of position, and he was out of his net. He was a little bit off to the right of it, and the dude just took the far side on him.
Yeah, poor positioning. And Razor mentioned that like later in the game when he made those big saves in the third period, he mentioned how his positioning was much better in that period. So I think you're exactly right on that. But yeah, that and the first period it kept going the whole way. It was kind of amazing that they didn't score again, honestly, because they really should have. We had a little bit of pushback after their second goal, but not a ton of sustained pressure. I think it was one good shift afterwards by our checking line, and that was pretty much it for the first period. All Penguins, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, our best chances in that first period came from our bottom two lines. So,
Mhm.
and when that's happening, like the top two lines are not playing good. That's
Yeah,
not good.
not good, especially when you're playing the Penguins, who are on a 10-game win streak. 10-game win streak coming
Yeah.
into this game. But going into the second period, the start of it, pretty much more of the same is what it was, honestly. For the first 8 minutes, I'd say at least. It was pretty much all
Yeah,
Penguins. Still couldn't
and
get out of our zone. Go ahead.
and that comes right off of us taking a really
Oh, yeah.
stupid penalty early. Like it was interference, but like they'd been letting it go the first period. It was a weak call, whatever. But
It was
they
also a stupid play, though. I
yeah,
mean,
it
he
was
didn't
just
have to
stupid
do
play.
that.
Yeah. And we've seen this before with the Stars taking penalties just as the period's starting, and that kills momentum for the basically the half of the period.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I felt like just like in my head that the penalty was finally over, I looked at the clock and it was 15 minutes. So it felt like that power play lasted like a whole 5 minutes, which was crazy. But finally, after that, we get through that whole power play. They kept having pressure even after the power play. It was a good momentum power play for the Penguins, even though we killed it off well. Um, but the Stars finally get going. They get in the offensive zone, and what Razor talked about a lot on the broadcast was they got the puck deep and they scrapped for it, and they clawed and got the puck really well. And really, again, it was that second line that we were talking about on Thursday too. Guri, Ben, and Sagan really going really well, and especially Gurionov. I mean, he still looks outstanding, and lots of sustained pressure from pretty much the 12-minute mark of the second period on.
Yeah, he's really woken up in these last 3 games. I think they said he has like 6 or 7 points in the last 3 games, and that doubles his point total on the year.
Oh, yeah.
So
and if
he's been really nice.
And if he can keep that going, that's going to be so helpful.
Mhm.
And especially this game, I talked about it on the last podcast we did, how it felt like he had a great game. He had a 3-point night on Thursday, but it felt like he could have shot more. This game, he shot every chance he got, and I loved it. It was really great. And that's how he scores his first goal, honestly. So goal from Gurionov at the 16-minute mark of the second period after really 5 straight minutes of sustained pressure from the Stars. You knew something had to go in. And he shoots it. It gets blocked in front. He gets the rebound immediately, puts it right back on net, scores it.
It's a really lucky bounce to him. The first dude blocks it, goes off the defense end, and that's in the center of ice, comes right back to him, but he slaps it as soon as he gets it back again and puts it in a good spot.
And it is fortunate, but it comes from after sustained pressure, like we were talking about, and it comes from Gurionov just shooting pretty much everything he got. Like if you're shooting that much, you're gonna get some good bounces here and there, and he definitely got one on that one.
And that pressure came from the only power play we had in the game, where Radulov kind of whiffed a little bit on that one. I was so sad. All of us here were cheering like it went in, and it went right past them. But that all the pressure came from that one power play we had. We didn't even score on it, but that was enough for us to start going.
It was a very good power play, and I have no idea how we only had one. That was ridiculous. That's a big part of this game. Is the officiating on both sides was terrible.
Yeah, it was poor. I agree.
I mean, we should have gotten more penalties, but they blew whistles early all over the place. Questionable offside stuff. Just it was bad all the way around. It wasn't a well-kept game, and that's how it got scrappy too. Is because of how badly officiated it was.
It's really frustrating to watch from that aspect, but it was nice in the aspect that we were able to kill off the dumb penalties that we had.
Yeah, so that's true. And that should give a boost to a penalty kill that has been doing good as of recently, but we really need it to keep going as we go further on to the season because we do take a lot of penalties.
Yep.
But later on in that, well, before we go into later on in the second period, that goal needed to happen. I mean, you could really feel it. We had to score a goal before that period ended to really have a chance in this game. And I'm so happy that it finally came because after the Radulov goal, I was like, all right, man, we're not going to get it. Yari's not going to have anything go past him. And man, that Radulov chance, that was almost as bad as Sagan. I mean, he totally undressed him. He beat him completely and then
missed the net. Yeah.
By
really frustrating.
And I know Razor said it was only 6 inches, but it was like a substantial margin for how close he was to the net. How much he missed it by. Oh my goodness. But man, and ending the second period, the Stars keep the pressure on. I mean, the whole period long, tons of pressure all the way down to the minute. The Penguins really holding on for dear life in that period is what it felt like.
It felt like 2 games. Like the Penguins outplayed us completely in the first half, and going into the second half of the game, we're completely outplaying them.
Like completely flips 180.
Yeah, we woke up or something. I don't know why we were sleeping, but
yeah, crazy. And the energy in the building after we get going, man, that was so much fun. I've never seen a building that hype for a 1 p.m. start. Like
it was awesome.
I don't know if it was like dollar beer afternoon there or something, but it was hype in there. It was sweet. So good job, Stars fans who were there. That was sweet. But then going into the third period, the first 5 minutes of the third period, oh my goodness. There is no way we don't score. And somehow we don't. I can't believe it. Talk about it, James. Talk about the first 5 minutes.
So the first 5 minutes was like we had a ton of sustained pressure. And then I think where we kind of started to fall back is when they got their one like 4-on-3 rush. That they got their pass all the way across to the dude, and the dude has a wide open net. And lucky for us, he nails the post. So
great shot.
And that's and when that happened, we must have gotten scared or something. We played back a lot more.
Yeah, but at that point, I felt like, okay, we've got to win now.
Yeah,
like they're not going to score anymore. We've got to find a way to put those 2 more goals on the board. But you're right. After the first 5 minutes, the next 5 is kind of it's back and forth more so than just all stars. The Penguins did a good job of getting their forecheck going again. But you have to think they were starting to get tired going into that third period. And then again, at the 10-minute mark, I'd say the Stars full on pressure again. It's pretty much exactly like the first 5 minutes of that third period. So much pressure. And again, we can't score. It's unbelievable. Every good chance we get, and so many throughout this game too, so many chances, like high danger chances, we just miss the net completely. I think of Raffles breakaway, completely misses the net. Hintz's breakaway. Suter gets a puck back to him with everybody standing still, and he's in the high slot. Has a great chance to score, misses the net completely. I hope we do not get back to this kind of Stars hockey, because honestly, the amount of offensive pressure we had this game, we could have easily had the same amount of goals that we had against the Panthers. Like 5 goals was not unattainable, and we couldn't score 2. Like, we have to hit the net. That we can't go back to the not hitting the net on high danger chances. We have to make Yari beat us, because while it looked like during those high pressure chances he was playing great, there wasn't really any big saves from. I think there was a couple, especially in the first 5 minutes of the third period, but not a ton of outstanding saves from Yari.
He didn't have a lot of outstanding saves, but he had a lot of saves where like you shoot it like right under his arm or right just barely above his pad, like good shots. They were a lot of good shots in this game, and he was stopping those close ones. So I think we started going for a lot more top corners and whatnot, trying to get more in.
That may be true.
But I mean, with how we scored our next 2 goals, it just showed what we should have been doing. So
yep. And next goal by Joe Pavelski. I think it was Jason Robertson throws it into the fondue pot, like Razor says. Robertson gets the rebound off the pad, sneaks it home past Yari.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Pavelski even tipped it going in on Jari, because I don't think Jari would have given up that
he definitely did.
Either. So he tips it, makes the rebound come out right to him, and then sinks it. So
great play by Joe Pavelski. And that's such a Joe Pavelski play too. Like that reminds me of the Calgary Flames game that when he scores in the last minute, I think it was game 5 to keep us in the series. Really, that was awesome. Such quick hands. I mean, it was off the pad and it was in the net immediately. Just 1-2, bam.
And that was that was a big goal for the whole Stars team. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone on the ice like exploded.
Everyone exploded. The building exploded. Everything exploded.
Because this is all this pressure building up in the third, and then you finally score it in like 5 minutes left. This is like the most like sustained pressure that we've had without a goal.
Yeah, exactly. And then the great thing that I was so happy for, after this goal, we do not turtle mode and go back and say, all right, we'll take our point and see what 3-on-3 gets us. It's still all attack from the Stars. It was great. A little over a minute later, Rope Hintz scores again, almost the exact same way. Shot from pretty much the top of the circles into the fondue pot. Gets knocked around again. Yari is flailing all over the place. He's 3 feet out of his crease, and then the puck just trickles behind him, slightly behind the end line. Rope Hintz scoops it back forwards into the net. He was playing in the crease. He was playing where the goalie is supposed to be. Yeah, is where he scored the goal. But he puts it in, and everything explodes again. It was great.
A huge broken play from the Penguins there. We got that 2-on-1 rush, and Rope flips the saucer pass over to Robertson, and Robertson double taps it out of the air and hits the post.
It was unbelievable. If that puck went in,
would have been the craziest thing ever.
That would have been the goal of the decade. That was amazing.
It was crazy, but it bounced off the post. I think Pavelski gets a chop at it. It bounces back to Heiskanen, I think.
And who takes a shot, and Yari saves it, and then he's out of his crease, and then Rope Hintz playing in the crease, just boop, boop, and it's in.
And it's in. And that was. I think that's the craziest scramble goal we've had all year.
And that's something that we didn't do in the beginning of the year when we were having our goal troubles really bad, especially, is we had all this pressure. We would get good shots, good chances off the rush. But when we couldn't score, we didn't go back to this, all right, then we're going to pile drive the net. We didn't do that. We were just like, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And this was the exact right thing to do. Whenever you realize nothing's going in, you got to attack the net and you got to be scrappy. And both those guys did.
and it really felt like we were doing that for a lot of the night. I mean, we were in Jari's face all night long. Like I think it was on the power play. Ben and Radulov were both at the net. Ben gets like pushed a little bit and he falls on top of Jari. Like
I meant to mention that too. And that was in the second period. That was pretty much the emotional start for the Stars.
Yeah.
It was that power play, but it was more so that like aggressiveness in front of the net and this two teams finally going at it. And that really jump starts the Stars. But anyway, let's finish the game real quick. In the third period, the Stars still kept pressure, even after Rope Hintz's goal. Still good offensive zone pressure. And Lord knows we need it because we cannot play 6-on-5. And they finally get it in the last minute. Penguins get a good amount of time on 6-on-5. Again, the Stars can't win a face-off to save their lives.
They
can't do
both
it.
face-offs.
Both face-offs. And pretty much full sustained pressure from the Penguins again. I will say one thing. The Stars were a little bit more aggressive on the 6-on-5, which I liked. It was a little bit better than it was against Florida, at least. But good. It's still not good. It's bad.
It feels like if any team gets more than a minute and a half on us with 6-on-5, they're going to score.
Yeah.
And that's really dangerous.
When Rope scored, my first thought after, was it was too early because they had a full 3.5 minutes left. And I was very afraid of that. Luckily, we kept that sustained pressure, like I was saying. The best way for us to not get scored on 6-on-5 is to not let their 6 guy on, I guess. Because now 6-on-5 is not good at all.
And it really was just we owned the second half of the game. So that's really kind of how the whole game went. Yeah. The Penguins owned the first half, only got 2 goals. We owned the second half and somehow squeaked out a third.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's totally right. And it was really good because in the first half, the Penguins kept the emotion out of the game. It was kind of lackadaisical. It felt like a matinee game. And then when the Stars finally got going is when they took it up to another level and they put emotion into the game and put heart into the game. And that's when they were driving the net more. That's when they were getting better shots. That's when they were skating harder, winning the puck battles. So I think that the first and second half is definitely the key to this game, but the key for overall that the Stars need to take with them moving forward is you got to get emotion into the game, because when we get emotion into the game, it feels like we can't be stopped.
And that's one of the things that we've been completely unable to do on the road. We have, it feels like we are like a doll on the road. We kind of skate around and hope that what we do at home works with no emotion at all.
And boy, it's going to be hard to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we're in St. Louis at 1 p.m. start in St. Louis on a back-to-back. Good luck getting emotion into that game. I'm not okay. Yeah, very pessimistic here. I don't think the Stars are going to win that game. I mean,
we'll see. The last 2 games make me really hopeful, but the Stars tend to do that.
it's a terrible schedule draw. I mean, if there's ever a game that you want to bet against the Stars, it's gonna be this game. So I'm hoping they can keep this emotion. Hopefully they just don't let this emotion go. So the emotion from this game, just keep it somehow and take it in the next game. And maybe that's the key to it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the crazier thing about our schedule is that this month is crazy for us, because right after we have this back-to-back, we get a 3-week break. Then I think we play.
Well, we did get a 3-week break. Is that still?
Sorry, not a 3-day. Sorry.
Yeah.
3-day break.
And 3-day was in February too. Anyway, no, it was March. I don't know.
3-day break after our back-to-back. Then we play the Kraken, which is an easy game. 1 day off, and then we have another back-to-back with the Florida Panthers first, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning second.
What the crap, dude?
Right. So this is a really hard month, even though it's not the same December month that we were thinking we were gonna get.
Yeah, that we didn't get.
Yeah, but
it's against harder teams. It's just not divisional games, is what it is. Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure out how to win some back-to-backs. Luckily, our goaltending is in a great position right now to win back-to-back games. I mean, both Otter and Holtby are playing great right now, which is really good to see. But yeah, we really need to figure out how to get some emotion into those road games. And that second line has to keep doing what it did tonight. I mean, I know they only technically get the 1 goal, I think, but they had great pressure all night long. Yeah. They were really physical on the forecheck, especially, I think. And Ben and Sagan both made their impacts known this game.
And one just if we're going to point out some people just real quick,
I was about to get into that. So
Gurianov has just been so good in the last couple of games. If he can keep that up, that second line really is going to be more like the first line
Mm-hmm.
because
And
and then yeah, go ahead.
it felt like it in the second period. The second period, that second line was definitely better than the first line. The third period, obviously, the first line takes care of business and gets the two goals. But you're definitely right.
And just one other thing I wanted to point out was Hintz kind of had been off the score sheet for a while now, so that was his goal felt a lot bigger than just this game to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see if that jump starts him too. Not that he didn't really fall off. He just wasn't scoring every game like he was before.
Yeah,
But yeah, we definitely need both those lines going, and we need to hope that the first line can somehow get out of the checking line and score a couple goals. And the second line, like I've talked about since we've got the question about, I think, the inconsistency stuff. That second line is the key to making the Stars consistent. They're not really inconsistent. It's the key to making them good on the road. Couple of other people. So we've talked about a lot of good stuff. Let's get into some bad stuff. John Klingberg was not very good.
yeah. Our defense still seemed to kind of struggle.
Yeah,
our defensemen actually with turnovers.
Heiskanen and Klingberg both had a decent amount of turnovers. They both get assists on the night though too, so that's good. But man, it felt like Klingberg turned the puck over so many times, especially in the defensive zone. It felt like he had a lot of them. And it just felt like entries into the zone for Klingberg were not feeling good either. So it just overall wasn't good. And while we're on the topic of Klingberg, we'll get into the story that broke hockey Twitter yesterday. John Klingberg, it was leaked that John Klingberg had requested a trade from the Stars. The person who leaked it said that he requested the trade a while ago. So this isn't like a brand new thing. It's just something that we finally have information on now. We'll see if he actually gets traded. Jim Nill is known to use players like this kind of as rentals. You know, if you remember the Zuccarello situation, we only had him for like a quarter of a season and he got injured during it too, which sucked, but whatever, that's in the past. But it'll be used in the same kind of way where we'll just let him run out his contract if Nill thinks he's important to get this team into the playoffs. What that says to me, or what the requesting a trade says to me, is that contract talks are over now pretty much between Klingberg and the Stars. I don't think Klingberg's going to come back, even if he doesn't get traded this year. So that is definitely sad to see. Love Klingberg. His breakout into the Stars was crazy. He scores so many goals. The goals from the icing line, or from the center line, I mean, just crazy cool. We'll miss Klingberg, but right now, after hearing that he wanted to request a trade, I would honestly trade him now. I mean, if you can get someone to take him and you get a decent amount of cap space, we can trade for another forward that we desperately need, because Klingberg hasn't been playing great offensively this year. I don't know that we need something like that to be a good team. I mean, right now we're doing it. He hasn't been a huge part of the offense, honestly.
Suter's kind of filled that role too. It's been Klingberg didn't even have to, because Suter has, I don't know what his point totals are, but he really has. Still. Yeah, he really has been a whole lot better than Klingberg has. Like what we expected from Klingberg, we got it from Suter.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So yeah, I would say trade him. Make some noise before the trade deadline. I think try and get a good solid forward who can score goals. I think that would be something really good from Nill. I don't expect that to happen. I think Nill's going to run out his contract. But that's what I want to see. I've already talked to James about it. He agrees pretty much.
Yeah, Ryan doesn't, which is unfortunate that he's not here. But
yeah, Ryan wants to do the Nill thing and just write out his contract, but whatever. But yeah, overall great game from the Stars. It's very emotional, unexpected for a matinee game. Anything else that you want to talk about on this game, James?
I mean, not particularly. I mean, we reserve the right to the streak slayers again with with beating the Penguins, not letting them get to that 11 wins.
Yeah. But in our win streak, we beat Colorado's win streak. We beat McDavid's point streak. I think. No, we didn't beat Draisaitl's point streak because he scored on us.
Yeah.
But We've definitely been the streak breakers this year.
Especially at home. If any team plays it at us at home, we are scary. We are 4th in the league at home. Yeah. So
crazy good at home. If we could just be decent on the road, we'll be one of the best teams in the league. But we're not. We're terrible on the road. So this road trip, we've gotten good stuff from the past few home games, and we've gotten the things that we need to see on the road at home. So we need to figure out how to take that from home, put it on the road. Like I said, I don't think next game is going to be a great marker of that, but hopefully it is. One thing that we didn't mention, Jake Ottinger, after the first period, lights out. He had lots of huge saves. He was so good overall. His save percentage in the night is .931. So he played a great game after those first 2 goals. So really locked down in that department. And that's what I mentioned. Both goalies are playing well. Holtby and Ottinger, both these games that they had at home, played really well. I know Holtby got scored on 5 times, but it's honestly not that much because of how much offense the Panthers created and who we were playing. But yeah, both guys playing great. And going into the next game, like we said, we need the same stuff on the road. Hopefully it'll be taken care of now, but I highly doubt it.
So tomorrow's game is at 1. It's in St. Louis. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for tuning in to this matinee podcast. If you're tuning in live, we are sponsored by DraftKings. Remember to use the code THPN at DraftKings to get some free stuff. They really help us out. They get us all this free hosting and stuff. We're able to do this podcast completely for free, which we weren't able to do before. It's really awesome. We have so much fun with it. So if y'all use that code with them, it lets them know that we are generating business for them. It really helps us out, helps them out. So use those codes for us. Ryan was out today because he was with work stuff. He was at All Area, I think. I'll be out tomorrow. My girlfriend's birthday is today, so we're going to be going and doing stuff tomorrow with her. So hopefully you'll have just Ryan, I think. I think, James, you're busy doing work stuff.
Yeah, I got work tomorrow, so...
So Ryan may be doing the solo podcast tomorrow, but y'all still tune in anyway. We know we're your favorite part, but make him feel good too. But anyway, hopefully Ryan will see you on Monday. Hopefully the Stars will show up on Monday, and we will see y'all on the flip side, guys. Peace out.